If you can remember when Michael Jackson ruled the world, you're in the right place. Yes, this is the Sega Does Podcast, episode 35. I'm Sam the Pixel Dude, and virtually to my left, I am joined by soon-to-be Retronauts panelist. That is the Dylan D. How are we doing, Dylan?
I could be better, but I am well. How about that? I think that's
Me too. I'm a little bit bunged up. Just got to get this cold weather out of the way, and we'll be fine. So,
still cold over there, huh?
It's cold all the time, man.
No, that's
You'd hate it. Wait, you're in Texas, aren't you? It's got to be what, 70 there all the time. It's got to be.
pretty much. I mean, the winters should be cooler than they are, but global warming's taking care of that for us. So
good.
Yeah.
It'll sort us all out one day.
Yeah, we'll all be in the 70s to 120s at some point.
I can't wait.
Next
Sounds
30
great.
years.
For real.
Yeah.
So, today, back to normal after our top 10 Mass System games from 85 to 89. I can't believe I can't even remember the title. Yes, 85 to 89 for our last episode. And also, if you recognise this music, it's probably because you've heard it from the Sega Side Quest number 3, which is where Sega Does explores the musical side of Sega, which, unfortunately, I think they kind of kicked Nintendo's ass in the music side. I will just say, obviously, Nintendo has a few iconic tunes, but in terms of awesomeness meter, shall we say, I think Sega kind of trounced them.
I would say Sega as a company in the 16-bit days had better tracks than Nintendo, but I would say there's some amazing Super Nintendo soundtracks.
There are.
Like from third parties, for sure.
Yeah, like the Square stuff. And,
right.
Yeah, you can't.
Earthbound. Which I guess kind of Nintendo.
People forget about the Earthbound soundtrack. This isn't Earthbound.
Yeah. No, not at all.
But actually, it's not that far away, actually. No, this is, I did say on the Sega Side Quest, but this, people, I would say the next time I was on, the mystery game that the background, the bed music, as it's called in the industry, the bed music from the last episode was from Toe Jam and Earl 3 on the Xbox.
That is a freaky game. Have you played that?
I have played that. I have it. I haven't beaten it. It's a time capsule.
It is.
It's the Xbox was great for those kind of games, and it's a one-off. There was a Dreamcast prototype found. Did you see that story? Probably about a year ago now.
I think I actually remember back in the late 90s a preview screenshot for a Toe Jam and Earl 3 on Dreamcast.
Really?
In like an EGM or something. Because I wasn't like when I saw it was coming to Xbox after Dreamcast folded, I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think it was a year ago. It might be even more. We've been doing this for nearly 2 years now, Dylan.
I know. As a matter of fact, I think is it late April or late March? I've started the thing. I don't even remember.
I think it's like April 11th, something like that.
All right.
And they found this guy found a Dreamcast dev kit, and it had a CD in it, and it had this kind of more than half finished version. I've played it because you can do that on the internet, and yes. I played. You right there, Dylan? What's going on? You having a fight?
Nope.
It sounded like you're falling down the stairs.
I think we're good. My cats are tame.
Anyway, they found this Dreamcast dev unit, and it had this Toe Jam and Earl game, which was pretty much like the Xbox version, but obviously not quite as pretty. So anyway, Toe Jam and Earl 3. I won't say it's a must play, but it's definitely interesting if you're interested in Sega history and like what they did after the Great Hardware demise. It's kind of what you would have got on the Dreamcast 2 years later.
Yeah, a lot of Xbox games like that. Panzer Dragoon, Orta, Shenmue 2, obviously. But that came out on Dreamcast.
Yeah,
so
there was Jet Set Future.
Yeah, I actually like that game quite a bit.
Yeah, what else was there? Some more stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff also came out on GameCube, like Monkey Ball and Billy Hatcher. That's a good game.
Billy Hatcher.
Billy
Wow.
Hatcher's a good game.
Yeah.
Mm. Billy.
You know what isn't a good game is our first game that we're going to get into here.
Yeah. Yeah. Our first game today is Alex. No, what the hell's the subtitle for this site? Like Alex Kids are always different. Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, not and the Enchanted Castle. Just in case you didn't realise where Alex Kidd was going to go in this game, they say it in the title. It's Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle. Now, this game just smacked me of like a 16-bit remake of the original. Am I right?
I would even go so far as to call it a neutered remake.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nearly as impressive as Miracle World.
No.
There's not a lot of depth there. There's way too many rock paper scissors matches.
Oh man.
And there was way too many in Miracle World, and so it's been doubled or tripled here. The level design is pretty crap until you actually get to the Enchanted Castle.
Yeah.
In which case, and then it starts, and then it's interesting, and you're like, oh, this should have been the whole game. They should have just made 11 levels of the Enchanted Castle. But yeah, it's by far the worst Alex Kidd game, I think.
It's funny, like a lot of it, like one of the sayings I like saying to them is like the grind is real. In this game, the slide is real because the control in this game is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
It's really bad. I mean, you can kind of forgive the original Alex Kidd for being kind of an early game, and also like, obviously you got to fake some physics here and there, make the game feel a certain way. And back then there wasn't really any set rules on how games are supposed to feel. But when this came out, you know, standards had been established, and the feel was not good.
No. It feels like Sega was trying to recreate the Miracle World feel. Yeah. But it's like they'd forgotten what they did or something. Yeah. I don't know.
So this was what's the date on this? I'm really interested to see the date.
Early '89.
So now, because you Americans, you do your dates the wrong way round to what we do here. It says 2nd of the 10th. Now, is that February?
February.
Right. See, we do. See, if that was in England, that would be the 2nd of October.
October, yeah. Right.
Right. So it's not. It's February. Okay. Right. So that kind of brings me on to my next question. I just wanted to check the date on. Was this the straw that broke the Alex Kidd back? Do we think?
No question.
Yeah.
But what I think is sad is that it almost feels like Sega just didn't care about this game in general. That they felt like, well, people will be expecting another Alex Kidd game from us because that's what we do. But they knew, I don't know, it's just, this game just feels so lazy, and like the developers were bored. Like they just didn't know what to do, and so they just threw a bunch of weird stuff together. But it lacks any sort of spirit. Compared to earlier games. I mean, even ones that I don't like. Like what was that one? High Tech World.
High Tech World,
sucked.
Yeah. Oh. They definitely used the original, if not as inspiration, more of a template. And even the scale of like the sprite to the background and all stuff like that, it just looks like a sharper version of the original.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics are sharper for sure. But apart from those, I really don't see how anyone could call this a good sequel. And it definitely killed the franchise. Although Shinobi World is supposed to be really fun, and that came out in '90, I think. Yeah. For Master System. So that was the last Alex Kidd game.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one because that's such a... I think originally that was supposed to be like a kid Shinobi game, like Shinobi Kids. And,
okay.
They went, hang on a minute, no, we got this Alex Kidd guy that kind of looks like the sprite we're drawing. Let's just make it like a crossover and sell a few more copies. I think I've heard that before. It was originally supposed to be like a Shinobi Kids, like a Virtual Fighter Kids job.
Oh man.
Oh no. Yeah. Anyway, so thoughts on Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle. I've done this for a while. Right, Kurt 13. Wow, the first Genesis review in yonks, and it's a dud game. I want to buy you a beer. Sut says, couldn't agree more. It's very poor for a 16-bit title. I played through it once and will never do so again. Peter Jean, after the 1990s title Alex Kidd in Shinobi World, Sega never bothered with the series again. Until... was he in Sega Superstar Tennis, whatever it's called? Was he in that?
Yeah, he may have had a cameo. I know he's had cameos in different things, but
poor old Alex.
And the problem is he's just not that interesting of a character.
He's really not.
No,
it's strange. Let's have a look. Sean says, well, it did get a push after 89, and like I said, it helped with GG ports, but I don't think the audience was very large. I think he's doing for a comment on the previous...
He's talking about the Master System.
Right, there we go. Okay. GH, whoever GH is, hi. Enjoyed your review. Really summed Enchanted Castle up. I've always seen it as a weak copy of Miracle World. That's amazing, the fact that everyone agrees this game is weak compared to the game that came out, 3 years prior?
3 years
on
prior.
a lesser system.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. That's crazy. So what did we actually give this, Dylan? We gave it a D+.
Yeah. I did like the last level, so quite a bit, actually. But the whole game was leading up to that, and then it was over, and I was like, okay, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
What a piece of crap. So...
Okay, next. We have probably one of the most prolific genres on the Sega Genesis. We have
on any console. Oh my gosh. And yeah, baseball.
We have a baseball game. We have Super League.
Or as it's known in America, Tommy Lasorda Baseball.
Tommy Lasorda. Now, I do like my baseball a little bit. I've got into it the last few years, but I haven't got a clue who Tommy Lasorda is. Now, was he good? I take it he was to be on the box. He
was a coach. Former Los Angeles Dodgers baseball coach.
All right.
Apparently, let's go to Sean comment real quick. He said Dodgers had won the World Series and Lasorda was a legend, especially in the LA area. He was like royalty down there. Everyone knew who Lasorda was, but other than his picture, he didn't really have much to do with the game. So,
and the check he got.
Right, and the sizable check, I'm sure. Yeah.
Baseball in 16-bit. We've played a few 2 8-bit baseball games or 3,
something like that.
3. One the SG version that I will never forget any SG 1000 game. It is so weird how they stick in your memory.
Oh yeah, well they feel like they're from a different world
to
some degree, especially when you're playing them and you're going, the Famicom was out during this time.
Yeah,
I'm playing like a ColecoVision game. It's just so weird. But what? Okay, so let me ask you, because I really like the look of the, like when you were batting.
Yep.
But I really hated, I could never get a hit that was worth a damn. Nope. I just couldn't.
I couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah, that was a trial too.
Yeah. I hit it a few times. I never got a home run.
No, no way.
But the AI, jeez, they got tons.
AI is fantastic.
I would not want to play against him. I really wouldn't. My music keeps jumping. I do apologise if the bed music keeps jumping all over the place. I don't know why. It's just been a bugger. There we go. All right. Okay, so I was quite impressed with the graphics, if I must say, because this is a very, very early Mega Drive Genesis game. Obviously, it was It was a Mega Drive game to start off with, and then Tom just sort of stuck his name on it when it came over here. Obviously, it came over here a little bit later.
Right.
Graphics not bad. They have a go at doing some gradients on the grass. The best, if you want to give it a title, an accolade, it's the best 16-bit grass I've seen so far.
It's true.
And
I really actually like the player models.
Yeah.
You can see the wrinkles on their uniforms. I thought that was nice.
And quite a forward-thinking thing of doing the. Oh, here we go. Who's the guy that stands behind the batter?
Umpire?
No. Catcher. The guy who catches the ball.
Not the umpire. Yeah. Oh gosh. Wow. We're a pair.
We're a pair. A British guy and a nerd. We can't even know.
Yeah.
It's the catcher. I'm sure it's the catcher.
I think it is.
Okay,
we're gonna say
the guy
it
who catches the ball. Shortstop? Is that it? No, it's not it.
No, it's not a shortstop.
No.
I do know that much.
What's a shortstop?
I don't know.
I should.
But I know it's not the catcher.
Oh, terrible. Anyway, they did him like see-through, like an outline,
Right.
which was pretty cool. So you could actually see through him and see like what was going on at your feet and stuff, which shows there was a little bit of like design thought that went into this game. Which that concept of having that guy see through kind of became standard.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I didn't really notice until you mentioned it, but I haven't seen that until this game.
No, that's what maybe because I've played a few baseball games before. Believe it or not, they did come out here. It's amazing, and that was quite a prolific feature. Like, oh yeah, it's got the see-through guy, so I can see what's going on with the feet. Blah blah blah, and I just brought it up because this is the first game that I've seen do that. That's one of the nice things about playing these games in order like this. You can see, oh, that's the first time they put that in the HUD, and that's the first time they put that in the menu instead of on the screen, and that's all these kind of things. And this is the first time I've actually seen this in a baseball game where they put the catcher as like a see-through thing. It's quite cool.
Playing in order really gives you perspective on a lot of things.
It does.
The only thing that I guess what really bothered me about this game was that I wanted to like it so bad because of the presentation. But pitching, did you find this when you were pitching that it felt like it was this very narrow area where you could get a strike? Like I felt like the batter box was huge, compared to the plate,
right?
And maybe that's more realistic, but I've never seen that such a great distinction so far, in games, So it was very hard for me to get strikes, one on the computer because the computer was amazing, and two, whenever I try and do like a corkscrew or just something apart from the traditional throw, it was always a ball because the boxes are so
this game is
big.
balls.
Fair enough.
You gave it a D-.
Yep.
They still have 11 thoughts. We must say thank you to everyone that's commented now on Sega Does. The site seems to have picked up a little bit since we got into the Sega Genesis, and the comments coming thick and fast, and we love reading them. Nice feature about leaving a comment on Sega Does is usually, if you're a new guy or a regular, you'll probably get it read out on the podcast as well, which is always nice to see your name out there. Kurt13 says, looking at pictures of Lasorda, he wasn't the best looking dude, and kind of an odd choice for an endorsement deal. I guess they thought kids tacked up pictures of baseball managers on their walls? ? Maybe they couldn't get anybody else. Well, maybe they couldn't. You got to remember, this was still relatively young, like, endorsement. I mean, when they get into like the mid, like when EA really started hitting the stride in like 93, 94, was when you started seeing the big endorsement deals.
Well, yeah, I mean, after there was this, and then there was Joe Montana football was a big deal when it happened, and then of course Madden wasn't big initially, I don't think, but then after a couple years, And anybody who wants to correct me on that, that's fine. But I just don't feel like Madden had the cachet right off the bat. I think it took a couple.
I think
times.
it became like FIFA did, kind of. Actually, FIFA got its ass kicked in the early 2000s by Pro Evo, but and it's getting its ass kicked again now. Actually, it's come back around. But Madden kind of became like a safety blanket with football games. It's like, well, it's always been here. It's always going to be here. We know if we go there, we'll get half decent football. So it's unfortunate because Sega came along and really did actually give it a lesson in 2K, NFL 2K games. They were really, really good.
The 2K series is
brilliant,
pretty amazing actually,
Yeah.
and I say that as somebody who doesn't like sports or sports games, but I can play those and enjoy myself, and so I'm looking forward to them on the Dreamcast. Yeah.
So that was Tommy Lasorda Baseball. Yippee.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, now then, you're going to have to take this one, Dylan.
I'll take it.
Because me, old little Samuel, didn't play much of the game. No,
well, neither did I. I played what I could, which wasn't that much.
I can't even say it. I can't even say the title. So what is this game?
Super Dyson Ryaku.
Okay.
Dyson Ryaku, translated as Grand Strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And on my review, I quote Hardcore Gaming 101 because I felt like they summed it up very well in one sentence, which is, the Dyson Ryaku series is one of Japan's oldest strategy game series, featuring hex-tiled, turn-based battles with a ton of real-life military units.
Right.
What that means is, if you've ever played a Koei game from the 8-bit or 16-bit era, like Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Nobunaga's Ambition, it's the battles in those, except that's the whole game. Yeah. Because in Koei games, there's a lot of different strategic things you can do.
There's like resource management and stuff like that, isn't
right.
there?
Yeah. And allocation and all that. But this literally is focused just on battles.
Yeah.
And World War II battles. And then
and Japanese text.
And a lot of kanji.
Jesus Christ.
A lot of kanji.
There's so much kanji.
And I was really surprised because I thought, I'm like, yeah, some crazy person out there has made a translation of this, and they haven't.
Really?
No, because I would have.
That sucks for you.
Yeah, really did. Because I played a little bit, and I kind of guessed my way around.
Right.
And what I assumed from that guessing is that this is a really slow-paced game, regardless of if you can read the language or not. Not at all something like Advanced Wars, which is, or newer strategy games, which kind of take a quicker pace. And that's
the 3DS one that's just come out.
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem. That's strategy-ish, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah. I've never played the series, but yeah, I think it is.
I'm just glancing down here, Dylan. It doesn't seem to have a grade.
No, I didn't grade it.
Okay.
Because I didn't play enough of it to warrant a grade.
Very fair of you, sir. Good show. Good show.
But true to form, some guy that I've never recognized said, "So what's the rating?" That was his comment.
Really?
It reminds it's like, it just is. The internet's such a funny place because if I were to have a conversation,
his name is
Plug. Yeah, and if I were to present somebody like, "Oh, here's my review." "Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I see you don't have a rating. What happened there?" That's how you would exchange something like that in real life. Whereas on the internet, you basically get shoved and said, "So what's the rating?"
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a little whatever.
I don't know if it's this game, dude, but it's drawn in some different commenters.
Yeah.
Hasn't it? It's very strange. We've got we got Sut to begin with. Says, for me, these games should stop on PC along with flight simulators. They're a niche at best and boringly complex. I kind of agree. So, especially in the 90s, this was. I can see it hitting a niche audience in Japan though. They kind of like their board games and stuff like that, and to digitize it, I think would have been quite a big selling point. We've got It's Not That Hard. Says you're vastly overestimating just how hard it is to emulate the PC Engine CD. You said before, yeah, the Mega Drive has some first-year jitters. All the new systems could have some good ones in here too. Not like you said.
I was talking in the review about how I tried to emulate the PC Engine CD version of this game because there is a patch for that one.
Okay.
I don't know. I got it running. I didn't get the patch running, even though the patch said it worked. Like the patch didn't work for me. Okay. So this was a conversation that I had with the gentleman, and I eventually said I got it running, but I think the emulator he recommended is a piece of crap. And it is. It's a multi-system emulator.
No, they don't work.
Not well. So anyway, so that was that.
Yeah.
That's
okay. So there's a bit of conversation going on in this comment thread. There were 23 comments on a game I can't read. Amazing. Okay.
Well,
right.
if you have time, let me just say I recommend for people who want to find out more about the game or the Dyson Ryaku series in general, do read the comment section, because CPL_trim at yahoo.com is a big fan of the series, and he posts a lot of really in-depth comments that are actually very interesting. So I recommend that. Arguably more interesting than the review, I'll just say it. So yeah, so that's my
thank you to him. He was a very big contributor on the comments and sparked some good conversations. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
He did. Right. Next, we've got the last two games today. We're going back to a bit more of a console mainstay here, especially in the 90s. We have Thunder Force 2.
2. Now... you're the shoot 'em up guy.
Well,
I mean
the side scrolling shoot 'em up guy, yeah.
You're not the free scrolling do whatever the
no. So
heck you want to do.
I get this this thing coming up say, Dylan's today has reviewed Thunder Force 2 on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah man, this is gonna be awesome. I get to play this game and talk about it. Thunder Force is an awesome side-scrolling shooter. This is going to be wicked. And then I actually get to it, and the fucking thing starts out top-down. And you can't slow down.
No.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And, this is Thunder Force is a big name in space shooters. And you start out the game top down, and you can't control your speed. You can only control which direction you go in, and the level is actually quite short. I can't remember exactly. We have to blow up like a ground base or something and eliminate a few enemies, something like that.
Bro, yeah, you had to blow up a few bases, a few different bases around the level.
And it was kind of ugly, and I'm thinking, this isn't Thunder Force. What the hell's going on? And then all of a sudden, level 2 starts, and it's side-scrolling. And I think, oh, thank God. We're back. We're back to normal, thank God. But then I get playing it, and the levels are not very well designed. And they are very repetitive. And a bit ugly. And I didn't like this. And I'm really eager to see what you think, because I haven't looked at your score yet. And I want to see if you agree with me that the levels there were a lot of repeated elements. I mean, I know it's like 19, it's 16-bit, but side-scrolling space shooters have really been established by this point. You can't say it's a new upcoming genre. It's been around for donkey's years now, and I just thought it was the level design and the elements in the level, like backgrounds and even up to enemies, shall we say, were very repetitive and not very well laid out. What do we think?
Well, the alternating styles.
Yeah.
I felt like that I was glad they did that, because
Really?
I couldn't have taken the top-down scrolling the whole game.
Oh no, I agree. I agree with that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably should clarify. Every other level, it changes style. So we go from top down to side scrolling, top down, side scrolling.
And I was so filled with anxiety during those top-down scrolling ones, where I gave the game a C+, but I even put in the review, I questioned whether I like this game or not.
Yep.
At all, because on one hand, I really stuck with it, and I actually wanted to beat it. I was very adamant. I'm like, I must beat this game because it is just a beast. It's like, it's so hard and ridiculous. But on the other hand, in level, I would think it was level 3, during the caverns, and there's portions where you're asked to navigate around these tight little corners, and you can't slow down, and oh my gosh, Sean claims that it's possible, but I mean, maybe it is if you've been playing it for weeks on end, but I can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And anyway, so on one hand, I kind of admire this game's just outlandish design, but I wouldn't recommend it to people. And I'll also say the only other Thunder Force game I've played is Thunder Spirits on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. But I've heard 3 and 4 are the best.
3 is supposed to be the grand opus, you know, it's the Final Fantasy 7.
Okay.
I've never played it. And I'm more of an R-Type guy, I always have been. But I'm really eager to play Thunder Force 3, I really am.
Yeah. So I would say for anybody out there who likes shoot 'em ups and who maybe hasn't tried this, it's very different, and you probably won't like it, but you might find yourself getting sucked in.
Doesn't sound like a very good recommendation.
It's not a recommendation. I actually would say most people should not play this game because it's just really hard, and I'm just surprised that I'm pretty sure this was a launch game for America. Yeah. 8/14, I think that's when it came out. 8/14/89. So there you go. There's your new 16-bit system, America.
Yeah,
Have fun.
It's funny. Brett Brown says they eliminate the overhead stages in the next one. Yes. And it generally considered one of the best, if not the best, shoot 'em ups on the system. So they do get better. I've never played this one, and I honestly don't recall hearing much about it. And I think there's probably a good reason for that. I think you're right there, Brett. So yeah, I was just generally very disappointed with the game. I mean, the overhead, I'm not a fan of overhead shooters. I can get into some of them, but this one was just so poorly. It's kind of, you can go wherever you like. We must say it doesn't go from bottom to top. You can kind of go where you want, and that's not what sort of like space shooters are about. They're about, right, here's this level, we're going there, there's all this crap in the way, you got to deal with it, and that's where the skill and the thrill comes. It's like a rally stage. I love rally games. The fact it's just this car, you've got to get from here to here as fast as you like, go, and it's like the bare minimum required for like a game, but it also gives you so much freedom as well to take it on how you want. It's great.
Yeah, I felt like this game, maybe that's what it was trying to go for, was the freedom aspect, giving players more freedom. But I actually think that I know it backfired quite a bit. Yeah. Because there's there's no freedom in not being able to slow down at the very least. You should be able to control a little bit of your speed, particularly when that speed is full throttles engaged at all times. It's just really hard to keep track of everything. But
Yeah.
it was different. It was an experiment, and they never did that again.
No.
So
Now then, our last game today is the best game I've ever played. Oh, sorry, did I say game? I mean concept. Right. This is the best concept, the most exciting concept, the concept I've always wanted but no one's ever done before. And when this game promised it, I was very excited. But I shouldn't have been that excited because it's the 90s. It's the Mega Drive. It's what should I say? Not the 90s. It's 1990 on the Mega Drive, and this was not going to happen, was it? No. This is The Last Battle. Or Dylan, take it away.
oh, I'm reading all this. Okay.
Yeah.
Hakuto no Ken Shin Sekimatsu Kyuseishu Densetsu. Yeah.
Or in England, Beefcake. Now, this is the
Yeah.
manliest man game I've ever seen in my life. This is amazing. It's just, if there's a problem in the world, it can be sorted by punching it. If it's a flamethrower, just punch it. Just punch the fire. Okay, it doesn't matter. If it's a spear, it's coming straight at you. Just punch it. You'll be fine. If it's an axe flying through the air 50 times a second, revolving straight at your face, don't worry. Just punch it. And everything will be fine. This game, what it is it's a belt scroller. It's belt scrolling beat 'em up. But it's a belt scrolling beat 'em up with a really like proper 80s/90s near future, not near future apocalyptic storyline. And what got me so excited is it's a belt scrolling beat 'em up, which if done right are fantastic. And it's got a story, which obviously story is going to be good, but you beat your way through a bunch of guys and then a world map opens up and you can kind of navigate your way through like a grid of levels to go kind of where you want, and you have boss battles and you meet people along the way and you can talk to them, and you can hear me getting excited like this. Like if this was Streets of Rage RPG, could you imagine how good this is? But this isn't Streets of Rage RPG. This is Last Battle, and in Last Battle, you don't have any say on how nicely the game plays because it plays dog crap.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I agree. The concept is amazing. The dialogue is entrancing. The bad dialogue.
Oh, you got that screenshot? I've got this. I got it on my phone. I was going to send it to you. Right. Okay. So we'll say I think it's the second stage. Well, it's not really a stage. It's like second area, shall we say? Because you can move around the areas. There's this guy. There's this girl. The guy. What's his name?
Arzak?
Is that it? Because it's got two
Arzak.
A's, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so
Arzak.
Arzak bumps into Elisa? Yeah?
Something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
And she says, Arzak, save the world. And Arzak says, I'm the only one who can save the world. And then rips his shirt off and walks off. We must say Arzak, by the way, is probably the beefiest man in the world. And he doesn't have a 6-pack. He doesn't have an 8-pack. He has a 10-pack. I counted it. This guy is stacked,
power of
man.
16-bit
It's like-
technology.
He has protein for his protein. You know, he's just. It could have been so good.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. This is like, because I'll go to bat for Altered Beast any day, And I will go to bat for Last Battle simply because of the presentation.
Yeah.
Sega's killer at presentation.
Yeah.
Not so good until later at actual delivering on, decent gameplay.
Yeah.
But presentation-wise, they really knock it out of the park most of the time. And this is one of those games where you're just like, it's almost, I almost feel like they had all these ideas and they put them all in, and then they just made the most generic, like, beat 'em up with poor hit detection that you could think of.
Oh.
Like that's it.
It's literally, I mean, I know belt scrolling beat 'em ups, unless they're done very, very, very right, they are just walls of enemies coming at you. But this isn't like walls of enemies as you think, oh, there's quite a few enemies on screen. This is literally like walls of enemies, like two guys, two guys, two guys, two guys, one guy, two guys. It's just, there's too much of a rhythm, and it becomes monotonous and stale very fast. On top of that, it controls very poorly. I mean, they had 3 buttons on the controller, and they used them all. Good for them. They had a jump, a kick, and a punch, and you can kneel down and do the other 2. But it's so bare bones. I think probably even for 90... Well, when did this come out? Is it 89, 90? It's got to be 89. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, is it bare bones for an 89 side-scrolling beat-em-up?
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
It is.
Because 90 was the Renaissance. There was like Turtles 2 and Double Dragon 2.
Yeah.
And, this is still, and this is still just a little,
Yeah.
it's a little lacking. I mean, I would even argue that Double Dragon, the original, somebody argued that in the comments.
Did it really?
That the original Double Dragon had more depth, and I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's
just the fact it's an RPG belt scrolling beat 'em up.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
We should say that as you progress through these, and I wouldn't even call them levels. I think in the review I called them vignettes because they're just so short.
Yeah.
They're not even real levels. But the more guys you beat up, your power meter goes up, and at some point, when it reaches a certain place, you rip your shirt off.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can punch and kick faster.
Oh yeah.
Although I will say, I think the jump kick actually got worse after you rip your shirt off. But whatever.
Oh dear.
So this game was a sequel to Black Belt, first of all.
Was it?
Yes.
I don't think I like that.
Black Belt sucked.
Okay.
Much worse than this game. Though they're both bad, but Last Battle is a cheesy bad, and Black Belt was just not fun.
It's like Conan meets Mad Max meets Demolition Man meets, I don't know. It's just everything, isn't it? All in one. Even all game genres all in one.
And it's based on the super violent anime Fist of the North Star, which is like the manliest. Yeah, which is like the manliest.
I've heard of it. I've heard people talk about it. So that's what it's based on.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to check that out.
And actually, in the comments below, Sean talks about how when he saw the second, I think it was either the second season or the second arc of the Fist of the North Star series, that the story actually makes sense once you see that. And then I said,
right.
And then I said I didn't want it to make sense because I think it's more fun if they're just yelling gibberish at each other.
Yeah, let's have a look at some comments here. We've got Brett Brown. I was really looking forward to your review for this one. I'm honestly not sure how I ever feel about it. I recognise that it's kind of bad, but I always find myself coming back to it. It's kind of like you, Dylan. It's kind of endearing. And unable to stop playing it. I think it might partly be my weirdness and the nostalgic and the nonsensical translation. Sorry,
not his weirdness. He said you think it's the weirdness of the game.
Oh right, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's probably a bit weird. Also, I found this video on YouTube, and there's quite a good video there. In the comments, we've got Tony Wilkins. Tony Wilkins. That's new for a while, Tony. I got this for £2.50 in a charity shop, complete with the manual. I played it for 20 minutes and put it on the shelf thinking, I had paid too much. Oh dear, Tony. Yeah, I wish I'd found this in the chat. I might buy this. I might have a look
It
on
is
eBay
kind of
tonight. If
amazing.
it's like £5-6, I might buy it.
Yeah, you should.
I think I might.
You
Right.
should buy it.
GH is back again. He says, "Yeah, comparing Last Battle to Streets of Rage is like comparing a sundial to a digital watch." That's probably a very good analogy there. Josh Dykeman, I'm quite surprised by your B- grade. So am I, Josh. I would say the Genesis port of Altered Beast is, despite its flaws, still objectively a good game. That's true. B-, Dylan.
Yeah.
That's high, my friend.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, what can I say? I like games that make me laugh and make me give me a sense that something more was going on, as opposed to, I wouldn't say that Last Battle is a good game, really, but I would say that Last Battle is a fun game, and I would say that I had a good time with it. Okay. And I think there's a difference there. It's like enjoying, some cheesy direct-to-DVD movie and going, that was awful, but man, it was really fun. It's like that. And I was actually really surprised at how many people hated this game. Because, I guess Brett and I agree the most. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. Well, that was Last Battle. Our last game today. Very interesting game. Now, some comments from episode 34. Sean gives us a right good kicking in the comments. Thank you, Sean. And if you want to see Sean's list of his top 10, which we did ask for some lists, but everyone
and
just
you should.
Yeah, most people kind of agreed with what we said. You can check Sean's list out on the comments for episode 33, I do believe, or maybe 32. I think it might be 32. Somewhere in there. Anyway, have a poke around. It does list how many grades you've given out for different games. Now, this is quite interesting. In the time Dylan has been reviewing Master System games, we have 9 A grades, 44 B grades, 40 C games, 28 D games, and 7 Fs. Anything to say about that, Dylan?
A lot of average games in there.
Yeah.
A lot of average games. Because if you look at 40, 68, and 7, so that's 75 games that got a C or lower.
That's very true.
So that's a lot.
That's a good way of putting it. Well done.
So
that's good. Right. Yeah. E.T. Great list, guys. I can't argue very much for the games that you picked. Luckily, I almost own all of these games growing up, and I didn't have many of the bad games. Well, you're very lucky, E.T., because I can say from experience living in the, the Master System capital of the world. Mind you, that's probably Rio. they did like their Master System in Brazil. You did most of the time. Master System. It was Master System libraries. Good ones were tough to come by because the good games on the Master System generally seem to be very rare. As in, they didn't make many copies of them. It's very, very odd. We've got Old School Player. Now, I'm going to have to track down a copy of Wonder Boy 3 and Fantasy Zone 2 so I can play these wonderful games I somehow missed. Well, that's good. That's kind of what the list was about. Doing the podcast and doing the top 10, 85 to 89 was, okay, if you want a Master System, you want to get one, you want to get a few games, try these. And I'm glad Old School Player has looked at the list and gone, right, I need to get these. I like the fact that people can actually use this for something useful.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, that was episode 35 of the Sega Does podcast. Dylan.
Yes, sir.
Very soon, my friends, you are going to be on a Retronauts panel. Please tell me more.
This is true. What's that?
Please tell us more.
Did we not talk about it last time?
I want to hear it again because I just think it's amazing.
I can't even remember if we talked about it. Okay, so I was invited to be on a Retronauts panel celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Master System.
Yay.
This is going to be with Jeremy and Bob, the usual hosts of Retronauts, and Jeremy Parrish and Bob Mackey, and then Greg Seward, who some of us will remember from EGM back in the 90s. I certainly do. Grew up reading his reviews, so it's going to be surreal to meet him and trade Sega stories, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
stories, yeah.
But we're going to be at the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the panel starts Saturday, April 9th at 2 p.m. But the expo is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
So, yep.
That sounds
It's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
Pretty good. One thing we haven't mentioned for a while is the Patreon.
The Patreon, yes. Why support this site? Well, that's a good question. Because I'm actually trying to figure out that answer right now. I'm dead serious. I just want to be honest with people.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say. The site takes a lot of time to work on. It might not look like it, because a lot of times you read a 750 word review or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, it took me 8 minutes. But from the beginning of playing the game to the end of the review, takes a good amount of time depending on the game. And then of course the podcast and all that. So all I will say is if you like them and you want to throw in a buck or two, please do. Right now I'm trying to figure out what kind of perks people might want to see.
Yeah.
And actually I will actively take any thoughts or ideas on that in the comments for this upcoming episode.
So basically, you can get what you want, guys. Just tell us.
Well, no. Yeah, because I'm a little befuddled right now because I do feel like I want to take this site to the next level. I want to have videos on here. I don't know what those look like yet, but mostly like gameplay videos with maybe some mild commentary, but I don't want to be droning on about the game for a couple hours. They'll be shorter, like 5 to 10 minute videos, showcasing the game, that sort of thing. But aside from that, and of course books, whenever that happens, hopefully sooner than later, I'm not really sure what else I could offer, and I want to offer something. And if anyone has any ideas, because I'm not very creative, feel free to leave some ideas about things you would want to see. Otherwise, I accept checks and credit cards. And but yeah, that's the Patreon. You can, if you go on Sega Does, just click on Support Sega Does, and it'll take you right there.
You can find Dylan on Twitter at the Dylan Lee. It's probably the best place to get in contact with him and find him.
This is true.
You can also get him at segadoes.com. You can also check out questicle.net, which is the best site on the internet to find NES game reviews and comments and all things like that. It's a great website. It's now been updated, so it's readable on modern hardware, which is nice.
Yes.
Which is always good. And so we also do a podcast called The Nintendo Experience. If you like our comments, we have another friend of ours, good old Sven. We do the Nintendo Experience with him. That's a monthly podcast. We get together and talk about all things Nintendo. Kind of keeps us a little bit sane, which is nice. And so Dylan, until next time, Sega.
Sega.